Reading Marv Gardens reporting in for this Thursday day. How's everyone doing? And today we're gonna take a much more relatable topic pattern. We're gonna be talking about pop culture, and what that means is I'm going to essentially be going into minor detail about basically how pop culture has developed basically in its contemporary element. Okay, so to do that, we will begin in early of 21st century, in which pop culture was mostly dominated by the music industry, specifically the rap industry. And I say that because, a lot of up and coming artists were, coming out at that time. We talking about a developed Jay-Z, a a much more relatable DMX, um an Eminem that most people wouldn't uh see nowadays, a Cassidy, Joel Santana. Early 2000s, this was like a good time for rap for everybody, really, in terms of people getting their name out there, the hype and the favoritism associated with it. Even even a couple of unknown name cats had singles out, like Soldier Boy, Chameleon. Let me see. Cats that you don't even hear about nowadays, and it hasn't even been that long. Even Little Bow Wow was a force that was recognized early on. But as quick fame shows, what comes easily goes easily, and a lot of names that popped up in the early 21st century soon became visible to the public eye, because from that brand of mafioso rap came the trap rapper. And it's funny because in the climax of this occurrence, you had a rapper like Lil Wayne that came out and totally obliterated the scene, and then following him Drake, and then Nicki Minaj, and then that whole situation there. Other competition was like sadly there were a couple of can't really say at that point, once the Young Money Cash Money group evolved. People was going back to Nas, was going back to Jay-Z, was going back to Biggie, Tupac. All the late 20th century rappers. I could probably most say they count as early 21st century, but you know, people weren't really like, for pop culture reasons, identifying with anybody else besides Lil Wayne and his group, and they have been enjoying a continual mainstream success. But what most interestingly occurred though was a couple of minor names that have occurred, but I can't really say that they own a game like Lil Wayne does. And not to sound like a Lil Wayne bandwagon, I'm just speaking from a statistical standpoint. And you got guys like Kid Cudi, you got guys like Fetty Wap has a single, but he's not known on. Kendrick Lamar is so. Just you got a lot of so rappers that are popping up, but you know, not really like on a Lil Wayne level. We talking about like a known name, like a name brand, or um expected, like when you have a product, right? And it has a history. You expect it to have a certain quality, and I feel like most rappers don't have that expected quality. That's why I tend to rely on Lil Wayne and Young Money, Cash Money, and stuff as my example, because it's been proven that they are the quintessence of pop culture right now. And with that came a new genre, what you call trap rappers, and they basically made a name for themselves through Chief Keef, who essentially became the soldier boy of the new 21st century music generation. He had his little thing, and after that, he just became. He was like, he's not a Lil Wayne, but he's like a Lil Wayne of the trap industry, of the trap genre, and he encouraged a lot of rappers to, pursue that trap genre, which is basically like a mediocre revenue generation for rappers. It's not. Don't expect to get famous off it. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Kanye West, um, 50 Cent. Those are early, rappers that have already established themselves. So I can't really say that they are the definition of pop culture, because pop culture revolves around who is most influential, not who has influence. And you know, trap has definitely become like that middle ground for people who are either not known or Lil Wayne. Something like that average. Which, given what it means to be not known in Lil Wayne, it's pretty fair to say. But that has also encouraged a lot of flood into bandwagon rapping, which is everybody adopting the same image because that's what's selling right. It's kind of like Wall Street for jobs, really. Rappers are adopting the trap persona in order to make a definite revenue. You're not gonna make the best revenue, you're gonna make some revenue. But there are rappers that have also made their name outside of the mainstream. I'm not gonna go into detail because everybody's gonna have the non-mainstream rappers who they identify with. So that goes to show that there is diversity. It's just not the most well paid. But yeah, pop culture has definitely been influenced in the music industry in terms of social networking. Pop culture has definitely also seen an economic type progression as well, in terms of the popularity that started with MySpace and then walked into Facebook, expanding into Instagram, Twitter, yada yada yada, and then ultimately petered out as people started to get older, in which social networking devolved from something that was, something you could look forward to checking up on the end of the day, to something just to say, hey, I'm still alive. Don't talk to me. And it's funny because that's essentially how this pop culture thing works. You know, something gets picked up quickly and then it gets dropped just as quickly. So I guess the next question then will have to be then what is the most relevant pop culture of the 21st century? And I can't tell you. Because pop culture is opinion heavy. So there's no way to say, depending on the cultural background, depending on the social circle, what is relevant for a specific circle. That's how uh um that's how I guess political pop culture has become, because you know, if pop culture was a sort of high mentality, something like that, then it wouldn't be pop culture, more so than it would just be another extension of government. So I guess that's probably a good sign. But pop culture definitely has some unorthodox venues. Like anime has seen better days. Like it's like adult cartoons without the pornography. And the reason I say that is because when it was like when nobody cared about anime, like it was booming, like it was just boom, 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 boom. You could definitely like Dragon Ball Z. Everybody has watched one episode of Dragon Ball Z in a lifetime, and that goes to show how anime can also be susceptible to that economic trend, because nowadays quality hasn't petered out, consistency has petered out. You know, before it was about, dang, yo, what are other animes at? Now it's about why they keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. Like, it's just one of those uncertain hobbies because people will watch it, but the the support of it is very shaky, very finicky, very and that's very sad, because anime is definitely very artistic in the approach they take. They're like, animes are like better movies because they take you on an adventure. It's just as similar to watching normal TV. The problem is people tend to put it on a back seat because you can be looked at funny if you watch anime and not an adolescent. Then again, like I said, anime is not a cartoon. This isn't like a Tom or Jerry skit or a Kids Next Door or a Chowder. We're talking about cartoons that may or may not include coarse language, may or may not include intense violence. Like essentially video games without having to pay for your content immediately. And I feel like that is also another weakness of anime, how financially dependent it is. But on to other hobbies. You got basically a typical car culture which has developed in America, in which you essentially, it's like being with the cool kids if you drive, kind of sort of. And that's to be expected because it started out, you know, with the colleges. I mean, nobody really cared about having a car until the college kids made it cool and stuff. And then once people really started picking up on it, then it became more of a way of life, a coming of age in a sorts, to drive and to hang out with people who share the same interests. And then, even if you don't necessarily go out on the town every day with your car, or, you know, drive out with friends like you used to, it still has a certain convenience that will attract social circles until you feel like you don't want to be bothered anymore. So I guess in a way, cars is more of a pop culture that has survived that economic trend, because that can only become more and more popular as people, meet more people, as people do more things, as people essentially get out in different ways. So I guess that's probably that's definitely a good pop culture trend. Another pop culture trend is probably essentially, let me see, a little bit of sports, a little bit. It depends on what sport you play, because it like when you think about the city, you're gonna expect the basketball. Football is less common because of all the equipment that it requires and organization. I feel like soccer is underrated because it's more of a white sport in terms of what it takes to play. It's not a there is no individual in soccer, so it can definitely be not as popular because of that. Nobody, I mean, people hang out, people have friends, people associate with groups. But when you bring competition into the matter, then everybody wants to stand out as that guy. So soccer is just not the sport for that. But in terms of sports, that's like one of those traditional pop culture trends, because there are a lot of sports that most people probably have never even played, like for example fencing or ice hockey. A slightly growing sport is lacrosse, but I'm like, you better well playing golf if that's the case. If you want to swing a club around and be amused, and what comes with that is a sort of unorthodoxness when you play those sports that people don't expect you to play. And the reason is, like, if you've seen somebody, you won't see these people actually. These are one of those specific area type of sports. Like you can't just like be like, hey, let's go play some ice hockey. Where's the ice for the hockey? You get what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna work out like that. But it is definitely important to explore different forms of physical entertainment, which is a probably for an adult is not as pertinent. But if you're in high school or younger, then why not? You got all the time in the world. But moving away from typical activities, fashion seems to have taken a turn for the better, in my opinion, because I can remember growing up, it was definitely about name brands and yada yada yada, and that was cool and everything. But when those name brands get turned on, they like basically people turn around and be like, you know what? Now these name brands are doo doo. then people tend to, you know, um, people tend to have a short-sighted view of fashion. However, the thing about fashion is fashion always dies and relives and dies and relives, so that's not even a problem. Now the problem nowadays is what dictates the modern look, and that is determined by also a cultural background. Inner city kids tend to adopt a more improvised look, whereas outer city kids tend to rely on the manicure look, the dress shirt, the fitted pants. They're not dress pants; they're just fitted pants. Um, Various accessories, tattoos is definitely becoming a part of fashion as well. Something to adopt depending on if your situation allows it, because you know everybody don't like looking at tattoos, so proceed with caution with that. In terms of there is no make or break name brand at this point, which is probably good. I mean, out of city, there probably is some names that get associated, that get expected, but I'm like, I'd be more worried about the look at that point, because the problem with name brands is you are susceptible to what your clothing, whatever the clothing designer dictates. So the clothing designer feels like making you wear clothes that's tight to the bone. You have to wear clothes that's tight to the bone. On the other hand, if you pick a clothing designer which typically doesn't really, which is not really stringent about clothing, how the clothes fit, that can also be looked at as a form of cheapness, or lack of care in your appearance, because basically, like I said, fashion lives and it dies, and then it relives and it redies, and yada yada yada. So you know, that's all. That's the explanation for that. But ultimately, fashion is how you dress is mostly dependent on your ability to put together a look in the 21st century. You can't tell somebody that what they're wearing doesn't work, especially since name brands don't dictate anything anymore. Like, to put this into plainer terms, everybody has undergarments, right? You're not going to tell somebody to not put on undergarments because it's not name brand. That's so stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm not going to wear. I'm just going to walk out with no undergarments just because it's not a name brand. That makes no sense. It's just retarded. So that's just like a simple argument. But the easy argument is you are what you wear, and that's probably the easiest way to figure out what to wear. You wear what you are, and if you can't get that concept, then don't even worry about it. Then wear what you want, man. But another pop culture trend is gender, like basically gender blending. And I call it gender blending because it's like a person's sexual preferences, their personal, uh, that's their, whatever. So you can't really say that's the reason for why they gender blend. But ultimately, gender blending has definitely become a minor fad. It's not popular. It's a minor fad of the 21st century because you can see guys that wear female clothes, but it's not gonna blow your mind till you see females that wear male clothes. And once you see that, then you're gonna be like, okay. But like I said, those fashion, like not even fashion, this type of preference in terms of appearance, essentially appearance, is very dependent upon location. Whether you're in the city or out of city, certain things are going to be popular. Most things won't. It's just that simple. So I guess I can't. The gender blending argument is not even really an argument. It's more just something to look out for. But another pop culture thing is the celebrity status has never gone down. People will always be interested in what the the popular people do, and this has become more normalized than expected. Like you would think people would get sick of being trifling, but bump it. We're gonna be trifling, and it makes sense because hearing good things all day, and you're gonna have too much day left to talk about. So to put that into perspective, it seems that nowadays celebrities have chilled out with the essentially the wild stuff. I mean, at one point there was definitely a trend in women celebrities being trifling. Well, not trifling, but controversial. And this was definitely seen in the early 21st. I mean, it's still early. I'm talking about beginning of the 21st century. And that it felt like it died. It felt like it died out because I mean, celebrities used to really like wild, like people make you want to meet them like in person, like come here, word up. But you know, people, the celebrities don't really make you worry no more like that. Nowadays, it seems like celebrity trends is in depth. I mean, it makes sense though. A lot of celebrities are people that's been around already. Like Prince died. They just said Kimbo Slice died. A couple years back, Michael Jackson died. Bernie Mac died. Um, early on, Aaliyah died. Most people forgot that. Um, most people remember Biggie and Tupac dying. Like that's just it's more of a It seems like celebrities dying is pretty popular, sadly. So yeah, man. I guess that's just the way of life, man. Why not? But in terms of male celebrities being trikes, cause we ain't gonna critique the females like that. It's not a lot of cats. You got a couple of cats that's being real like stupid right now, but that's to be expected too, man. That just goes to showbiz is not where everybody expected to be because, you know, at some point or another, the love has got to stop. People are not going to worship you all day or every day. They gonna let you have your spotlight, and then they gonna keep it moving to the next person. and most people don't know what to do about that because it's like a stepchild feeling like you like they get used to a certain treatment, and then after that they just be like, yo, what's up? I thought I was popping. Nope. It's not that you're not popping, it's just that we don't care anymore. So, there's that. But yeah, not a big deal, nothing too serious. Pop culture has definitely evolved into a right now it's not, it's like it's two phases to pop culture, a youth phase and an adult phase, and I can definitely say pop culture is going through an adult phase right now because kids ain't really doing nothing that kids don't like. That's out of the ordinary for kids. Like kid, you don't really hear about kids wilding like that. Like that's just, you know, I guess that's just the fact of the matter, man. That's just the times. Kids ain't really being, the idea, the idea of the troubled inner city youth is not as prominent as it used to be. When the 21st century first started, the inner city youth was a problem. Definitely was a problem. You definitely had to worry about, Lil Knucklehead running up on you, feeling like he Big Meech or something. Like I don't know. But nowadays, kids ain't really doing nothing too outworthy because like I said, it's the adult phase, man. When kids get their, I don't know, to get their self confidence up or something, maybe they'll start doing stuff. Then again, I don't want to come on wrong like I'm trying to encourage kids to do shit, like do stupid shit, but you gotta be a kid when you got the opportunity to, or you gonna waste it. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But in terms of pop culture, the nerd is definitely popping now. I could tell you that much. Kids have opted out of making high school into a one of those turning high school into prom. Like every high school has a prom, but a lot of people try to turn the whole high school like experience into prom. And that works as far as it is accepted widely by other kids, but it hasn't been something that's you know well adopted nowadays. Now kids are waiting until college. Like kids are catching on that trying to live college and high school may not necessarily be the best choice because um you know this is the adult phase when kids feel like I guess to associate that in every kid group circle there's supposed to be that prominent figure, and I feel like that's very key to a pop culture boom for kids. And I feel like most kids don't feel like urge to be the Fonzie of the group anymore because the feeling isn't there. You know, it's when something is when the feeling is there, when people, when it like encouragement is very important to kids. So when a kid feels like, them doing something won't make them stand out, that's when you get the cool kids. But you know, that feeling isn't there. On the other hand, there has to be a reason for why kids ain't feeling like this. And that leads to the next pop culture trend, which is basically video games. And I can get why kids are have, well, males, yeah, because we're not going to argue that video games is a female hobby. That's retarded. But males have definitely chosen to move towards the video game internet culture because it's a lot more safer to WoW on the internet than it is to WoW in real life nowadays. And I can't blame them for that because, you know, just as stupid as a person will feel talking about I shoulda did this or I shoulda did that, people that gotta listen to this shit feel even dumber letting you talk about this. Like 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 people will always follow other people, right? What makes the difference is how quickly people get tired of following something. And people definitely got tired of sounding like, you know, dang son, I should have did this, or dang son, I should have did that. And you know, I feel like the females have definitely had a an effect on this because, like I said, it's a youth phase and an adult phase. And who determines that youth and adult phase is the females. Females will always be the the stamping grounds for youth males. They will always be the determiner of how a male is going to act on any day of the week. And that's just the truth of the fact of the matter of pop culture, that it is dictated by female bias. And I say bias because a male is tempted to adjust their opinions both in mind and action based on what female is relevant in his life right now. And you don't even have to do a census about young adolescents on what type of females they're dealing with because you can already see the results. If a lot of females was encouraging males to go out and be that guy to you know, be a bad boy or be a cool guy, you'll see a lot of guys following trying to wild like him. But as you can see, they're not. So, you know, there it is. Females is definitely taking a much more wizened point of view here. And I can't blame them because another pop culture trend which has evolved, which is essentially the discarding of the Carpe Diem movement anyway, in lieu of every action makes the difference. And that just reflects the adult mentality of the pop culture trend right now. Because the times will always be the times. You're gonna have the good, you're gonna have the bad, you're gonna have the ugly. And you know, so an average of all of these things together is gonna determine how encouraged youths are to engage in hazardous activities. And I coined the term hazardous because there is no label for it when you're talking about youth. Um, any other form of attaching a label to it would be a insult to the youth. That would be like critiquing the youth or putting the youth down by trying to tell them what is good and bad. So I would say hazardous activity because you'll never know what you will and won't get away with until you do it anyway. So there's that. And I feel like what has helped that also is the trap rappers, because you know inner city kids have a tendency to vent male aggression, and having proper male aggression outlets is important, especially in this unknown time that we live in. So trap rappers has helped that, because you listen to the song, you rock it to it, you rock it to it, boom, 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 boom. Now you don't took that male aggression and turned it into more of a hobby versus something that may move your hand and do something hazardous. And that's definitely a trend of the 21st century, is that males have quickly learned to think with their hands instead of their fists, because you know thinking with your fists is just is always gonna backfire on you at this point. You know, if you think with your fists and you expect people not to look at you differently, you stupid. Not to say that it's not an option, because like I said, I don't critique people, I don't tell people what to do. I'm just letting you know, thinking with your fists is not a wise move if you seek to stay relevant to social groups, if you expect to stay relevant to the female opinion, if you expect to stay relevant to changing times. And that's just like the truth of the times. I mean, I feel like another, like, pop culture has definitely taken some L's in terms of freedom of expression, because pop culture essentially is it's like it's a youthful energy which can be maximized or minimalized depending on the phase. In the youth phase is maximized, in the adult phase is minimized. And the reason why it's minimized at times, because it can be very hazardous behaviors if the times call for it. And the good news about an adult phase, though, is that means that sooner or later things will go back to a more youthful phase. And then you see youth, being youth again, being hazardous, being reckless, being arrogant, being, all the things you would expect them to be, because youth not being able to be youth at some point or time is more harmful than helpful if you do not allow youth to express themselves in a method that they prefer. Then they will feel like they missed out, and that can also lead to a negative mentality, not a harmful mentality, a negative mentality on life. That I didn't get my chance to shine, so now I gotta take everything seriously. I gotta, uh, uh, I gotta basically I gotta adopt that jail mentality and stuff. Like, life never did me one, and that's probably the biggest consequence of the pop culture trend, because when it's booming, everybody wins. When it's not so booming, somebody's gonna lose. And that's just the truth of the fact of the matter. But I essentially the biggest pop culture trend today is friends and groups and all of that stuff. Like before it was cool to be a unorganized conglomerate of people where nowadays who your friends are is probably a serious question nowadays, and that's to be expected. But the reason why Friends has taken on the largest trend is because that's a trend that extends to everybody from the time you hit puberty till you die, essentially, because who your friends are is a direct reflection upon your status and standing as a societal member. And in this society where friends speak a lot about a person, it makes sense. More importantly, friends determine, what type of things that you put up with, which is probably the biggest reason why Friends has taken the pop culture trend as always, because you're gonna reach a point in your life where friends are not gonna sound like friends like they used to sound. When you was a kid, friends probably ain't mean shit to you. Now you get a little older, friends mean a lot, because we talking about people who you choose to invest your time in, who you choose to engage in a manner that you will probably not feel comfortable engaging in on the street. Like you, if somebody talks to you like you talk to your friends, and you don't know that person from a hole in the wall, then you're gonna feel a certain type of way, because you've already put your time and your energy into specific friends or into specific groups. And basically you gonna be like, who is this clown? Like, why you talking to me? Go away. Go run in traffic or something. And I feel like in every century, friends is going to be a make or break trend, because basically your friends are going to determine what other trends you are susceptible or non susceptible to. And depending on the times, that can be important or cannot be important. So I can't say that friends is always important, and it isn't always important trend in the centuries. I just know that it's a trend that is always calculated upon. And I say calculated upon because how well friends contribute to your life is how it's a calculation. You're not going to be writing mathematical equations out about friends and yada yada yada. When do I stop talking to this person? When do I start talking to a new person? Yada yada yada. You're just going to measure when you feel like you have enough people around you, and when you don't feel like you have enough people around you. And how typical what that number means is going to be totally relying on the person. However, how that number averages out in terms of what becomes acceptable interaction versus non-acceptable interaction makes the difference. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's like you got a group of females and a group of males. If the males group is large enough, the females are going to be tempted to talk to them or be engaged by them. If the male group is too small, then they're tempted to not really associate with them because they have no reason to. Like how it's funny how you could talk about celebrities, but at the same time, friendship can at times be more important than celebrities. And you know, that's just a fact of life. I mean, it's nothing to worry your head about. It's nothing to uh it's nothing to worry about, like in terms of can my friends affect my life. It's just something that you should consider if you are thinking about engaging in different trends or engaging in different hobbies, or more importantly engaging in different people. And I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting, for all my supporters out there, my future supporters. I'm fighting the struggle right now. It's cool. It's cool. I ain't really worried about it, man. I got faith in y'all. Y'all gonna come through in the end. I'm just gonna keep doing me, and it's gonna pay off. That's all I know, man. Cause all I could do is myself, and I'll leave the rest to you guys. Thank you, and have a good day.